Hello and welcome back to my channel. A lot has been going on with my life these past couple of weeks. I became a mom. I mean, technically, being pregnant, I still kind of consider myself a mom, I guess. My life has completely changed ever since my baby was born. I've been more on top of things. I've obviously been more tired or whatever. And after giving birth, I finally feel like myself again, obviously minus the postpartum baby blues, getting used to how my body is now after the baby, and doing all, the work that goes into taking care of a newborn baby. And also the pain, because when you pee, it hurts. When you poop, it hurts. Your back hurts, and your chi-chis hurt if you do breastfeed after you have a newborn. But I think it hurts either way. I think your chi-chis hurt regardless if you breastfeed or not. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me throughout this whole journey, because it has been a tough one for me. Pregnancy hit me really hard from the beginning till the end. The end, actually, I wasn't feeling so sick. I was just more tired, out of breath, but luckily I wasn't throwing up or feeling nauseous. I was actually able to eat food, and then when the baby dropped, I was able to sleep at night because I wasn't choking on my heartburn, because I had terrible heartburn, and I stayed away from hot Cheetos. I stayed away from spicy foods. So the whole pregnancy, pretty much, I didn't eat hot Cheetos, and you guys know that hot Cheetos is like 99% of my diet. And I obviously stopped smoking weed throughout my whole pregnancy, and it was pretty hard. I had a couple beers here and there for my craving, but I usually drank those in a michelada, so I didn't actually drink the whole beer. A lot of people were kind of voicing their opinions on that, which is totally cool. Everyone has their own opinions. It's my baby, it's my body. I could do whatever the fuck I want. When you decide to have your kids, you do what's best for your kids, and it is what it is. Oh, sorry if I'm grabbing my chi-chis. It's just because I've been breastfeeding, and he doesn't want to take the bottle anymore. I mean, he doesn't want to take my boob anymore, because I've been pumping it out for him using I actually have it right here. It's the Mudella breast pump. I'm actually wanting to do a review on that in a separate video, because I use it every single day. I don't even know how many times a day I use it, but I use it every single day, obviously, because I have to feed him and he won't latch on anymore. He was latching on really, really good as soon as he was born. When we were doing the skin to skin, he latched on really good. I was breastfeeding him, but at the beginning I noticed that he was getting too tired, and a little bit of milk would come out. I felt like I wasn't able to produce a lot of milk because of the amount of colostrum that was coming out, but that was normal. Newborn babies, when they're born. The reason I know this is because I went to a lactation class prior to giving birth, and as well as afterward, because I felt like I was having trouble. I feel like when you become a new mom, you have so many questions in regards to your baby, because you worry about him, and the crying can make you stress out, because you want to make him happy and you don't want him to be in pain. And it's stressful when you, obviously, because you're a new parent, you want to be able to understand your baby. So yeah, I was having trouble with that, and it so happened that I was actually producing a lot of milk, but in my head I felt like I wasn't, because it was just like a tiny little bit whenever I would pump it. But the baby eats so much, and he's so strong. He already starts kicking and moving his arms. I feel like he's not a newborn anymore. And it's funny because he was born actually on the 26th, which I will get to in a little bit later on in the video. This video is going to be pretty long, because it's kind of like an update, where I've been, how I've been doing, kind of thing. So for those of you guys who fuck with me, like, you guys know, you guys love these videos. But anyways, this is going to be a labor and delivery story because a lot of you guys wanted to know about it. And I also kind of wanted to touch base on me publicizing the baby, because lots of people think that I'm trying to create a hype for like the presentation of my baby, but there will be no presentation because I just personally feel like I am not ready to publicize him out on social media. It's just kind of one of those things where, you know, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You can do whatever it is that you want. You guys have to understand that this is my job. And I can't put up every single little thing of my personal life. I used to do that back in the day until it started causing problems. I feel like sometimes I have mental problems because I'm exposed to a lot of negativity as well as positivity. But, you know, we all tend to kind of lean towards the negativity because we all want to be accepted, and we all want to be loved in a sense. But at the end of the day, not everybody is going to like me, and that's totally fine. But what would really bother me is for somebody to talk bad about my baby or, you know, things like that, because you guys know that I'm private about my relationship, and he's just really special to me, and I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like a trend to put up newborn babies, or I don't know, maybe if I had like a smaller following or like a really, really private Instagram, I would love to post pictures of him. It's not that I'm gonna hide him, like, you know, from people, but I just feel like he's too little for me to be putting him on there without his consent. It could just be my hormones, because I really felt like I was kind of like in a bubble while I was pregnant, and my hormones are still out of control now. So it could be my perspective right now. Maybe I could change my opinion later, and I would love to show you guys him, but at this point I am not going to be posting up pictures or videos. I hope you guys understand. Again, it's just one of those things. It is what it is. If you guys want to hate me, you can hate me, unfollow, unsubscribe. You know, I can't force you to continue to watch me. But yeah, and you guys should actually consider keeping your lives private, because I've noticed that when you keep things to yourself, you really don't have to prove things to other people. When you know yourself that you're happy and that you love that person, you really don't need someone else's approval or someone else's consent towards your life, because you could be happy about one thing. Like, for example, if I'm wearing this shirt and I'm like, oh, what do you guys think, you know, and I could love the shirt like so much, and then after I put it up, someone's like, ew, that makes you look ugly, or that makes you look fat. No matter how confident you are as a person, no matter how many followers you have, no matter how big your platform is, you're gonna feel some type of way. And I feel like, you know, it's been kind of fucking me up mentally, so I think that's why I think like that. And yeah, so you guys should try that out. It would help if you guys are, you know, needing help with that or whatever. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic. Yeah, so this is gonna be a labor, oh my god, fucking Faisa. This is gonna be a labor and delivery story, on obviously my labor and delivery. So if you would like to hear my story, then please keep on watching. Okay, so to begin, let's see. I don't even know where to start because there's so much. So my labor was an induced labor. My doctor gave me the appointment to give birth because originally my due date was on 4/20. I was hoping for him to come on 4/20, obviously, because you guys already know. But he didn't come, and I was expecting that because when it's your first child, or not even first child, every pregnancy is going to be different. It just depends on, you know, yourself. And he didn't come, and we waited and waited until my doctor finally told me that he was going to induce me on, when was it? The 25th. Yeah, the 25th. And I gave birth at the Riverside Community Hospital. which was beautiful, by the way. Their service was amazing. I honestly thought that I was going to have nurses that were bitches, because you guys know when people hate their jobs, and it's just like, homegirl, like, it's not my fault you work here. Like, it's not my fault you have to deal with all this shit, but at least be happy, you know, because it makes the experience a little bit better with no negativity. And I dealt with a few nurses and a student nurse as well, and she was amazing. At first I kind of felt like a little bit weird because you know, there was a student in there, but I ended up falling in love with her. So shout out to you, Olga. And if you're watching, contact me, because like I actually want to keep in touch with you. I was super scared for labor because I had went through a miscarriage and I felt what contractions are like. I had no idea what they were like before until I experienced that, and it was so painful. I had to go to the hospital because I've never been in pain before, and I'm the type of person, I'm like a little bitch when it comes to like physical pain like that. I can handle pain like when I'm at the gym, you know, working out and stuff, but that's because I'm pushing myself. But when it comes to like getting a cut, or like if I have a headache, I'm the type to take an Advil or a Tylenol because I don't feel good and it hurts and I just want the pain to go away. I was expecting the worst of the worst because I was watching, actually didn't watch labor videos. If you're pregnant, don't watch no labor videos, please. And you know how we download those baby apps where we can see how far along we've gone, and then they have little videos that they show you talking about epidurals or talking about women's experience with labor and things like that. I was freaking myself out because on the baby app that I was on, let me see, what's it called? It's called Preg and Baby, so it's like that one right there. And I started watching this video where moms were talking about their experience, and they were all saying like there was a point where I wanted to give up and all this stuff, but all of them didn't get an epidural. I was planning to get an epidural fucking from the beginning, because you guys, this pain is very, very, very fucking painful. And the thing with the epidural is that when you pass a certain amount of centimeters, I'm not sure how many centimeters it is, it's too late to get the epidural. So you're pretty much fucked, and you're gonna feel all of the pain of a true labor. And a lot of people are against an epidural because they want to do it completely natural, and like it doesn't take away from the love that you have for your child, if that makes sense. I think lots of people are prideful when it comes to that, and they want to be able to, you know, take the pain. And if you do, kudos to you, because that shit fucking hurts. And what pissed me off about the whole thing was that they still have to wait for you to open up a certain amount. I was at 4 centimeters when they were finally able to give me the epidural because I wasn't opening up. So anyways, I get to the hospital or whatever. It was on the 25th of April. So my appointment was at 8 o'clock, and the doctor had told me that I was supposed to call in before I go in just to make sure that they have my bed ready. So all day, you know, I was getting my stuff ready. I had my hospital bag ready. I had all of my stuff, you know, that you prepare prior to going to the hospital or whatever. And then I drive from, because I live in Rosemead, I drive from Rosemead to Riverside, and then I go to my mom's, and we're just kind of there, just waiting to pass time. My palms were sweating. I was getting really nervous. I was trying to calm myself down because it's just, again, it's one of those things that everyone has to go through. You can't run away from it. And the paper where my doctor had given me the appointment, it had said, don't eat a certain amount of hours before you go. And I was getting really hungry, and I heard that, like, you know, people throw up like during labor and stuff, so I'm assuming that that's what that was for, or so you wouldn't shit. But at this point I didn't give a fuck if I shit or not, because I was so scared about the pain, and I didn't want to throw up, because you guys know I have a phobia of throwing up. But anyways, So I called the hospital and I'm like, hello, do you guys, I called at 7:30 because my appointment was at 8. And I was like, so do you guys, like, have an appointment at this time? I'm supposed to be induced. And she was like, oh, all the beds are taken up right now, blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, are you serious? Like, what do you mean? Like, am I not going to be able to go today or what? Because I was kind of expecting that. I'm like, it's too good to be true to have my baby, because I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I'm having a baby. Like, I'm pregnant and I have all the pregnancy symptoms and all this stuff, but I really don't realize that there's a baby inside of me. It's kind of hard to explain. When you're pregnant, I think you'll understand, or maybe it's just me. I'm probably just crazy, or I don't know. So she was like, call back within like 2 hours, or she's like, it can take up to 3 hours for us to take you in. And I was just like, are you serious? Like, it's already 8 o'clock. I mean 7:30. So then I waited and waited. She said she was gonna call me back, and she never called me back. And it was already 3 hours. 3 hours had passed already. So it was 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. So it was already 10:30 at night. I had taken a nap. Those were the longest 3 hours of my life, and we didn't really know what to do, because we were like, maybe they're not gonna call me, or maybe they are. And at this point in my pregnancy, I was just really tired of being pregnant, and I just wanted to have him already and get the pain over with. So then I decided to call back, and I always get shy when I talk to people on the phone when it comes to calling businesses or insurance stuff. I just get embarrassed. I'm like, oh my god, like, I get stuck, and I feel like I sound dumb on the phone, but I'm like, they don't know who I am. So, well, I mean, she kind of knew who I was, because she obviously, they had my name in the computer or whatever. So then I called again, and I was like, hello, like, can I come in now, or is it available? And she was like, oh, hold on, let me go check. And she's like, oh yeah, it's been ready. And I was like, alright, like, you totally forgot to call me, and I'm over here excited to have my child. So right then and there, I felt so, I don't even know what I felt at that moment. I was excited and I was nervous, and I just wanted to get over with. And my mom lives about 7 minutes away from the Riverside Community Hospital. It's right next to RCC. And so we drive and we get there, and then we go up to the front. We're like, hey, where's labor and delivery? And they're like, it's 3rd floor. So I go up there, and then I check in. They have me fill out some paperwork. I kind of feel like I have to poop, because I'm getting nervous, because I feel like I'm reliving the moment. So then I go in, and after I fill out the paperwork, they take me to the room. And the room was really nice. Like, they had the bed, they had a shower and a bathroom, and then a couch kind of like this one. Obviously not like this, but the length was like that, so your partner or whoever you're gonna have in there with you can stay there. And when I first walked in, like, I've never been admitted to a hospital before, so this experience for me was very, very terrifying, because again, I've never broken a bone. I've never felt any type of body pain like that besides the miscarriage. Sorry, I have a cough. It's a little difficult to drink and eat food when you have your lipstick on. And I have gloss on, so it's much more harder. It's much harder, sorry, because if I say much more harder, you guys are going to attack me. Anyways, when I walked into the room, that's when it hit me, and I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. I had this knot in my throat because I was so scared, again, because of everything that I had heard, crazy stories, and it's just, don't stress yourself out, guys. Don't be ashamed to get an epidural. Again, I was planning to get it from the beginning, and as soon as I told my doctor, I was like, I'm trying to get an epidural. And he was like, okay, that's very good. He actually encouraged me to get it. And till this day, I don't know what the epidural looks like. Because one of my cousins, she's actually having a baby any day soon, and she says she's scared to get the epidural, and she's had all of her children natural, and she has 3 kids, and this is her 4th, and she's scared to get an epidural because I guess she's seen like a video about how big the needle was. I don't even know, and I was like, girl, but that shit saves your life. So then I went in, and I went in with my boyfriend. Emmanuel was there with me. I wasn't planning for my mom or my suegra to be in there because I felt like it was a moment that I wanted to share with me and Emmanuel, and I just didn't want to stress my mom out. I didn't want to stress out my suegra when I'm in pain and stuff. But labor is such long a long thing. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go in, oh my god, I'm having pain, my water broke, I'm gonna go into labor like right now. It takes time for you to open up. Again, everyone's different. Some people give birth in an hour, some people take up to 48 hours to give birth, so it just depends. And yeah, so I was nervous, and she told me to take off my clothes and change into the robe that they give you. And as soon as I sat on the bed, like, I literally started tearing up because I was so nervous, and I was just really scared because I felt like as soon as they induced me, the pain was going to come like this out of nowhere, and that's not how it happens. Well, at least for me, that's not how it happened. So they were checking my vitals. You know how they do all of that stuff when you go into the hospital or whatever. If you guys have kids, you guys already know. They plugged an IV into me. I'm not terrified of needles, but it's just disgusting to have a needle being like, shoved into you. And it was just, I hate it. I just hate hospitals. So she put that on me. She was checking my heartbeat. And then they had to check the baby because they felt like I was too small, like my stomach was too small, and I was measuring, the baby was measuring, well, my stomach was measuring at 27 weeks when I was already 41 weeks, and they just wanted to make sure that, I guess, the baby was, okay, which was kind of weird because my doctor had told me that the baby was fine, that he was going to be like a 6-pound baby. Small babies are better to have, because I'm a smaller person. So, oh, I think my suegra's here. It's because my suegra is downstairs with the baby. I think she checked my cervix before putting in the pill, so that way she could see how open I was. And my doctor had already told me that I was opened a centimeter and a half. Usually when your cervix is a little opened, well, they say that you're gonna open up quicker because you're already open prior to the pill. And when they check your cervix, it hurts so bad. It's so uncomfortable, and it's just, they pretty much like fist you. I don't know if they stick their whole fist in you. And lots of people were asking me if I shaved before going into labor or just getting there, and I didn't. I was a little bit hairy, but it's because I really couldn't see, and I was just so tired in the pregnancy that I was just like, you know what, I just don't care. Okay, so she then put the pill into my cervix, and I didn't start to feel the pain right away. It took about an hour to feel it, and it started off slow, which was good because it gradually started to come. It wasn't something that was like a slap in the face where it was like boom, like big contractions. So it started off slow, like menstrual cramps. That's what a contraction feels like. It feels like a very, very, very bad menstrual cramp, and like it's tightening like inside of your uterus, like someone is grabbing your insides and just twisting it like this, like giving you an Indian burn. And it'll last for about maybe like 30 seconds to a minute, and towards the end they start coming in quicker and quicker. Since I got the epidural at 4 centimeters, I stopped feeling it because you completely go numb. And then the nurse had told me, she said that there wasn't going to be anything happening for that night, so she told me to like try to get some sleep. But you think I could try to get some sleep while I'm thinking about when the pain is gonna come? Or I couldn't sleep, so the whole night I was up. I think she put in the pill like around 12 or 1 o'clock, and my boyfriend did fall asleep, so he didn't wake up until like 6 o'clock in the morning. And by morning, it was around 6 or 7 o'clock. This is already the 26th of April. the contractions slowly started to get bigger and much more painful. And during that time, since I wasn't actually like in the like giving birth position, I had because there was only supposed to be 3 people allowed in the room, and people can switch off. So my mom would go in there, my suegra would go in there, my suegro would go in there, and as well as my dad did come, and my dad came like at a really wrong time because I was in so much pain, and I don't like to show that I'm in pain in front of my parents because then they worry, especially my dad. And so I tried to hold it in while he was in there, and then he ended up leaving because I was like in pain, and he he was getting sad. He didn't want to see me like that. So anyways, it was already like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and I was breathing really, really heavily in between contractions, because when it hits you, you have to stop what you're doing and you concentrate on it, and you're just like, you just want to like cringe, and you're just like and then afterward it goes away, and then when it goes away, you're fine, you're able to walk, and then but that feeling, I mean, like that time frame starts to shorten and shorten. So they told me, get up and walk, it's gonna help you, and I just didn't want to walk. I'm like, dude, I don't want to walk, like it hurts really bad. They're like, come on. So I'm just like, okay, you know what, I'll just get up and then I'll go walk. So we were walking around the hospital, my mom walked with me, and I had to stop. Like I would grab onto the wall, and I was just I reached the point, I walked for like 5 minutes, and once those 5 minutes was up, my contractions were so much stronger that I was like, you know what, I cannot walk anymore, let's just go back to the room. So I got back into the room, and my contractions were really, really, really painful, and they checked my cervix again, and I was not opening up. I was still at 2 centimeters. So I was like, wow, are you serious? And then I was getting really impatient. I felt like I was becoming a bitch. Like I was like, where's the epidural? Like, can you get me the epidural? And they were like, we can't give you the epidural until you reach 4 centimeters. So I was starting to panic because I was really in pain. I was already sweating. I wasn't crying yet, but I was, almost there. And she told me, take a hot shower because it's gonna, like, it'll help you. And I'm just like, homegirl, like, I don't want to shower. But I was like, I kept an open mind. I was like, okay, let me go in the shower. So I got in the shower. My boyfriend helped me because I couldn't, like, I felt like I was gonna fall over or something. And in the shower, like, it did relax me. It felt good. But I still had to, like, grab onto the wall to bear the pain and breathe through the pain. So by the time I got out of the shower, it was like a 2-minute shower. I didn't even really wash, like, good, but it was just kind of something to try to relax me. And I hear that warm water helps you open up, supposedly, and it did end up working. So I came out and I got back into my robe, and then that's when the doctor came in, and she was like already telling me, you know what, like, you're having really bad contractions already and you're not opening up. She was kind of scared to bring up the fact that I needed to get a C-section because I wasn't opening up and having contractions this bad. So she started telling me, yeah, you might need it. And I was like, honestly, at this point, I don't care. This baby needs to come out. I'm in so much pain. Just make the pain stop. So she was like, I'm going to go ahead and check you. Go ahead and lay down. And as soon as I lay down on my, like, I had to lay down flat on my back, the contractions started getting even worse. At this point, I was already not myself. Like, Jenny left the room. I'm a totally different person. I'm over here getting mad at the nurses. I'm impatient. My mom is in there and my boyfriend is in there, and they're like so worried, like, to see me in so much pain. She was holding in her tears, I could tell. And I reached a point where it just hurt so bad that I started to cry. And she checked me, and when she was checking me, I was in the middle of a contraction, so it hurt so bad. Like, I was even, like, not screaming, but I don't want to call it a moan, because when you moan, you moan when something feels good, but this was a moan of pain. and she stuck her fingers inside me, and she was like, oh my god, she was like, yay, you're at 4 centimeters. She was like, great, now we can get you the epidural. And yeah, so I was like, okay, like, you know, go ahead and get it, like, stop talking about it, whatever. And so they left, and I was expecting for, you know, the person to bring in a big ass needle and have them come in and give it to me or whatever. But they were taking long, and when you're in pain, time goes by so much slower. And I kept telling my mom, I was like, ¿Dónde están? I was like, ¿Por qué están durando? Like, I was getting so impatient. And that's when I kept clicking the nurse button. I was like, hello? Like, where are you guys at, you know? And they're like, oh, we're getting the epidural approved and all that stuff. And I was like, why didn't you guys do this before? Like, I've been asking for the epidural since I got here, you know? But I guess it's, you know, hospitals, it's their routine, or they have to do it. I get it. But, you know, when you're in the pain, you don't give a shit about nothing. You just want the pain to go away. So then the anesthesiologist comes in, and he's like, hello, my name is blah blah. I was like, okay, you know, hurry up. And he was very nice, you know, explaining everything. This is what it's gonna be, blah blah blah. You're gonna have to stay still. And my boyfriend came in front of me, and he was holding me, and he was like, okay, so for this, you have to stay still. We can still do it while you're in a contraction or whatever, but you have to stay still. And he was like, you're going to feel pressure in your back. I didn't turn around to look at whatever he was doing because I didn't want to get scared. At this point, I was trying to be mentally strong because it was either continue to get worse contractions or feel a little discomfort from the epidural. But since my contractions were so strong, sorry, it's because like my boobs are full right now and I have to pump, but the frame is from here up and I can't pump and show you guys my chi-chis because then you guys are going to flag me. So then he told me you're going to feel a little bit of pressure on your back, you're going to feel a little bit of coldness, blah blah blah, you might feel a little pain. I didn't feel any pain at all when he was doing it. I just felt like you know, like when you get a vaccination, you kind of feel like the coldness coming down. That's exactly what it felt like, but on your spine. And I thought that the epidural, you were going to feel it like quick, but it takes time to kick in like any medicine. And he told me, he's like, okay, so you're going to have to lay flat on your back for you to distribute the epidural, the medicine, so it can completely go through. And it's funny because like while he was doing the epidural, he was being really kind and polite, and he was asking me questions and, you know, giving me instructions on what to do, and I was just not having it. I was not even responding to him. I'm sure he understands. I'm sure he deals with a lot of pregnant girls and he knows what it's like. And it's funny because I could tell that my nurse was kind of getting a little bit annoyed with me because I was impatient and stuff, and she was like, you know, you can respond to I don't know what his name was, you know, you can respond to him. And I was just like, and I didn't say shit. I was like, lady, guy, I'm sorry, but don't ask me no questions right now. Is not the time for you to be telling me to talk because I can barely breathe through my contractions. So he finally put it in. He told me to lie flat on my back. And when you lie flat on your back while your contractions are hitting you, it hurts even worse. And I was like, it hurts. Like, can I lay on my side? And they're like, no, you have to lay down straight or flat on your back. And I was like, how long is it going to take to kick in? Because I was still feeling pain. And he's like, it's going to take about 30 minutes for it to, you know. And I was like, great. I was like, 30 minutes? I turned around and I was like, 30 minutes? And then it slowly started to kick in. The numbness started to come slowly. And I'm the type of person that panics, like when my feet get numb. And your whole, like from here down, you get so numb. And I was still feeling contractions, and I told him, he's like, you know, you're supposed to feel nothing right now. Do you feel anything? So that way I can give you another dose. And I was like, honestly, I still feel pain. I still felt like a contraction, and it was painful. Like I still had to breathe through it. So I was like, you know what? Like, it's still hurting. He said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give you another dose or whatever. So finally, it completely went away. I was relaxed. It doesn't feel good. You still feel uncomfortable because, again, your lower body is completely numb. Like, you can't you can't feel your legs. Like, you can't lift your legs up, you can't wiggle your toes, you can't turn to your side. Like, when I was turning to my side, I had to have my boyfriend like come from behind me and like lift me up and turn me, because it just felt like so much pressure in my legs. And then it finally completely went away. So I was able to talk through everything. I felt like I wasn't in labor, but of course my body is still contracting, and I wasn't feeling anything. So I was still opening up without me knowing. I was feeling really drowsy and really tired, but I couldn't sleep, and she kept telling me, you know, go to sleep because you're gonna need energy for when you start pushing. And I was just like, I can't sleep. And I started to feel nauseous. Like, my mom and my sister and my suegra were in the room, and I was feeling nauseous, and I was like, I think I'm gonna throw up. So I told him, I was like, can I have like a barf bag? And again, I'm terrified of throwing up. My baby's crying. He cries when he's hungry, but they're fixing him a bottle. They have his formula down because he doesn't have breast milk right now. Anyways, so where was I at? What the fuck? I forget. Throwing up in front of people. I hate throwing up. I hate it, okay? I cannot stand it. So I called in the nurse. I was like, I feel really nauseous. Like, you know, is there something that you can do? So she was like, okay, like, let me go get some Zofran for you. And then they injected into my IV. And as soon as they injected it into my IV, I felt normal again. I was able to crunch on my ice, because they have crunchy ice. They have the bomb ice at the hospitals. It's the nugget ice. And so I was crunching on that the whole time. And so then she comes and checks me, and she's like, wow, she's like, you're opened up 8 centimeters already. It was already like 12 o'clock, but I was opening up quick, like super quick. And then I was like, are you serious? I was like, oh, okay. But I was like drugged up. It kind of felt like I was on an orco. You're kind of just like, you know, yeah, like whatever kind of thing. And then I see her, you know, start bringing in all the stuff, and she was like, okay, well, and she checked me again. So she checked my cervix again after, I want to say maybe like 30 minutes. And she's like, okay, well, we're gonna start preparing because his head is sticking up. Hold on. Okay, so we're gonna start preparing for labor because you can already see his head. And I was like everything was going so fast for me to fully wrap my head around the fact that I'm gonna give birth right now. I don't know how to push. I don't know how I'm gonna push because I am exhausted. I didn't get any sleep at all. The epidural was weighing me down so much. I felt drugged up, and I was tired from the contractions, so I was weak. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna push. I was like, I don't think I have the energy to push. And she was like, yeah, you do, and you're gonna push. You'll be fine. You know, don't worry. And I was just like, oh, like can we wait? You know, since it was going by so fast, I wasn't so excited for it. I'm assuming it's because of the epidural, and that's what she told me. And I kept telling the nurse, I was like, I really wish I was like more excited to give birth because I just don't feel like myself right now. And she's like, it's understandable, you know, you're tired, you're on the epidural, it's normal, so don't feel bad. So then everybody starts coming in. The room all of a sudden started looking like a labor and delivery room. There were students in there from RCC, more nurses, the doctor, and it was just my boyfriend because I told everybody to leave at that point because I just wanted it to be me and my boyfriend. Just because, you know, it's bloody, it's messy, just personal preference. So she was like, you know, it's only going to take you like 3 to 4 pushes, right? And as soon as she told me 3 to 4 pushes, I was like, okay, you know, I can do 3 to 4 pushes. And she's like, okay, so, and they started opening my legs up. Oh, sorry, you guys weren't supposed to see that because I'm only dressed up from, you know, from here up. She was like, okay, so you're going to go ahead and start pushing. You're going to push like as if you have to poop. And I was like, okay. And I was still feeling nauseous, so I was still kind of trying not to throw up while I was pushing. So I pushed a little bit, but I kind of wasn't really trying a lot. Because I was tired. And then she was like, okay, you're going to push much harder, and yeah, push. So it started to get a little more intense. So I was like, okay, you know what, like I have to push, I have to keep pushing. So I was pushing, but I didn't feel like I was pushing because everything was numb. And she was like, you're gonna have to push harder. And I was like pushing, and then I would be like, and then I would push, and she's like, no, 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 you're gonna have to hold your breath and push for a long period of time. She's like, hold it for 10 seconds. So I started pushing, and I felt my face like turning red because I was like trying to push. You don't know how to push. And that's when she started saying, you're gonna have to push harder, like come on, like push, don't push from your face, push from here down. So I started to push from here down, and I pushed about 3 times, and then by the 4th time I started kind of not blacking out, but it started to become like a blur, I guess, because you're trying to intake everything that's happening, and you're just tired, and it's just weird. You feel like you're in a movie. And then I heard my boyfriend saying, push, push, like he's almost here, like his head is out, like push, push, push. And by the 4th push, he just like flopped out. And it's funny because like while everything was happening, they were like, open your eyes, like look. And I didn't want to see nothing. I didn't want to see no blood, or because all that scares me, you know. And he came out, and I just like, I saw him, and I was like, like that was in me, you know. It wasn't the experience that I was hoping for, you know what I mean? Because you have this idea in your head of how it's gonna be, and I was scared, to be honest. At first I was really scared, and then I was expecting to hear the baby cry right away, you know. And then sorry guys, I kind of get a little emotional. I knew that when I started filming this, I was gonna get emotional. Okay, hold on. Because, you know, this makeup took me a long time to do today. And so that's when he came out, and then they asked my boyfriend if, you know, he wanted to cut the umbilical cord. And then he was like, you know, yeah, and everything was kind of going by really fast and stuff. And then he cut the cord. And then, you know, I kind of noticed that he was a little blue. Like, no, well, I was, you know, I've never given birth before, so I'm expecting that that's the color the baby is supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, like, everyone kind of started talking amongst each other. And the doctor was like, he's not responding. And you know, when you hear that, you're kind of just like, well, what do you mean not responding? This is supposed to be like a happy delivery, you know, kind of what you expect. You expect for them to like give him to you right away. And then that's when they took him like to the side. And then I turned around and looked at the doctor. I was like, he's gonna be okay, right? And she just looked at me, and she gave me this look, and that's when I knew something was wrong. And I told her, I was like, he's gonna be okay, right? And she was like, they're gonna do everything they can. And as soon as she told me that, I just, you know, I kind of started losing it a little bit, and I started crying. And then I turned around and looked over, and I was like, wow, like, you know, everything's like going so fast. And then they did some suction thing, and then they did their thing, and then as soon as they did that, he started crying. So that's when I felt like super relieved. And then they were like, everybody was like happy because, you know, he responded, and everything was good. And then that's when they handed him to me, and I had my baby. And it was just so surreal, and it's just an experience that I feel like is unexplainable. I always get emotional whenever I talk about it. I've only told my story a few times, you know, to close people or whatever, and, you know, it hits me every time. Especially, it hits me more now because I'm so attached to him, and I know what it's like to be a mom now. And to think that, you know, that happened is just, I think everybody would stress out about that if that was their child, you know. And then that's when I did the skin to skin, and then that's when, you know, he latched onto me and stuff. And yeah, that's when they did, sorry, it's because I'm like trying to fix my makeup. Alright, we're good. We're good. And then they bathed him, and they asked if we could give him vitamin K. I don't know. You guys know when they do like all that stuff. I have all of the paperwork of all the stuff he got and he got or whatever. So after I had the baby, that's when they took me to the other room where you're able to kind of recover, and that whole night they're able to check the baby and stuff. They do a hearing test on him. They do blood tests. They do all that good stuff to make sure that your baby is healthy. A lactation nurse came in the next day to make sure that the baby was feeding well in order for me to finally leave. The pediatrician looked him over, and I was finally able to go home the next day. So the baby was 6 pounds and 12 ounces, and he measured 20 inches long, and we named him Emmanuel, and his last name is Santana, like his dad. His dad's name is Emmanuel as well. So I'm still kind of I'm decided on what I want to call him. I usually, like, well, when I was like pregnant, I referred to him as baby Manny. So I just feel like he's kind of too little for me to call him Emmanuel, and since I call Emmanuel, he doesn't have a middle name. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a little difficult for me to open up about it again because, when you go through something that's obviously something that makes you emotional. I hate crying. I always like to hold in my emotions, and sometimes when you bottle up your emotions for a long time, you end up blowing up. So try not to hold your emotions, and if you want to cry, cry. I should probably be taking my own advice. But yeah, I would love to hear your birth stories. Leave them in the comments below because I want to know if you guys kind of dealt with a similar situation like mine. And yeah, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for those of you guys who are new to my channel. Expect more videos. Again, it's been such a long time since I've been back to my normal self because a pregnancy is a long time, 9 months. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being patient, and I will see you guys on my next video.